What's up, y'all, a little faith, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 15 of the Fagnostic Podcast. I'm your hostess, not your Moses, Matt Hayes, and if I'm still giving you episodes, it means that I'm still looking for peace in the unknown. That's right. I'm no longer looking for answers, I'm just looking to feel peace in not knowing. And today's guest helps me do just that. She's a new friend and a referral of our last fabulous guest, Christian. Maria Lopez is an energy healer, spiritual mentor, certified Reiki master, and trauma healing specialist. Her 3-month one-on-one trauma healing program, The Phoenix Rising, teaches people how to achieve post-traumatic growth and heal their trauma once and for all. You can follow her at Ascending Arts on Instagram for inspiration and healing in your feed. As y'all know, helping folks heal from religious trauma is one of the things I am most passionate about, and I'm so excited for you to hear this incredible conversation with Maria. You can literally feel her energy pour through the airwaves. She expanded my consciousness surrounding the divine, and I have full faith that she will blow your mind with her view on all things involving quantum matter. Welcome to the show, Maria. Maria, thank you for being here today. I'm so excited to talk to you. I mentioned how I've not had anyone on who specifically can address Reiki, and it's something that is growing in its infatuation with me. So I'm excited to hear its origins, the respect you have for it in practicing, and all that stuff. So thank you for being here, first of all.
Oh, thanks, Matt. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. Oh, good. I can feel your energy through the screen. It's so surreal. One of my favorite attributes in humans is when you smile through your eyes. And y'all can't see, but just trust me, she's smiling through her eyes.
So, I used to have people make fun of me in college. It was like sweet making fun. It wasn't like bullying or anything, but sweet making fun of me because in all the pictures in college, I'm smiling so big, my eyes aren't actually even open. They're just my eyes, when I smile that big, they just get like really tiny.
No, that means that's joy. I love that. You can always, you know that it's not false when it's that. And when it takes your face over that much. Awesome. Well, tell me, are you a believer?
I am a believer. But I'm a believer in the way that I think probably most people would think is very weird and probably not really relatable. So just, full disclosure, I am a practicing Catholic.
Okay.
I'm also the worst Catholic in the entire world. If they knew what I actually believe, they would absolutely burn me at the stake. But I think
Catholics haven't been known for burning anyone at the stake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was very much a Protestant weight. But yeah, so my belief is, it's a little out there, but I believe that you and me and this computer and my cat and the stars and oxygen and everything that is made up of quantum matter, which is everything in existence, is all one giant organism. So kind of like the Pando in Utah, which looks like a 100-acre, 50,000 tree aspen forest, is actually the largest organism on Earth. It's one tree that's united by this enormous root system, right? So the root system of existence is quantum matter. My belief is that root system, that quantum matter root system that connects all of us, is actually what most people would call God, right? Or whatever you want to call it. But to me, that means that all of us are, in essence, one God. And I believe that at one point or another, we were all one being, one consciousness, united. And then at some point, we decided, well, let's just see what it's like to not be one. And we expanded into what we now know as existence. And we did it because we could, because we fucking could. Yeah. And because it's entertainment. And so I really believe that this entire existence is almost like when you think about inhaling and exhaling, right? You think about how when you exhale, you blow cells away from you, right? When you inhale, you suck them back up towards yourself, right? I believe that this existence is the exhale of our God selves. And eventually, as every action has an equal and opposite reaction, we will come back to oneness again. And I think that really very well explains things that people believe, like soulmates and twin flames. Those people are just closer to the epicenter of reuniting with our oneness. And I believe that there's so much like anecdotal and scientific proof of collective consciousness that we all share that it just seems too likely.
Yeah.
But what I believe more, even more than that, is I believe that there is no way for us to know. We can't know. And I love that. I think that that's wonderful. I think a lot of people are made very uncomfortable by the idea that like we can't know what the truth is,
Yeah.
especially people who believe in religion, right? Because they're like, no, this is the way and the truth and the life, says the Lord, right? But we can't actually know, and I find that incredibly comforting, actually.
I do too. That used to be one of the things that drove me crazy as I was deconstructing my own, faith system. But it's actually one of the things that I find comfort in now is that we don't know, and that's beautiful. That's so this podcast actually, being called Fagnostic, started as to embody my search for answers, and it has since transitioned into my longing to be at peace in the unknown. And I've not gotten there yet. There are still times where I'm like, I just want to fucking know something, just one thing. But I don't think that we're designed to know in this life. And I think that's what, where I used to have fear about the afterlife being, am I going to make it to the pearly gates or get sent to the fiery pits of hell because I like sucking penis? I don't know. But now it is like, no, but like that's the afterlife that I imagine is the euphoria of the peace of the unknown. But at that point, I think we'll know. So at this point, I think my life is just dedicated, and of course it's always going to change, but at this point, my life is just dedicated to finding the stillness and just sitting in it, even if it's just a moment of peace of unknown, just sitting there and accepting it and not fighting it, Can you identify your pronouns real quick?
Yes, my pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. Before I forget it, I want to hit on something that really resonated with what you just said about how anything that's made up of quantum matter, whether it's you, me, computer, my dog, your cat, the plants, the sun, the margarita I'm going to have later on tonight, that's, an essence of God. But in my attempt to reclaim bits about my religious upbringing, because I do think we, in coming to peace with it, we have to kind of, what's the saying? That what we resist persists. And so I've tried to reclaim aspects of my religious upbringing that I can find peace with. And one of them is, there's a scripture about where two or more are gathered, there I am also, to describe the idea of a church. But to me, that was early philosophers not being able to articulate what you just did about quantum matter. When they were with somebody of like mind or of like spirit, they felt divinity. And so that connection between the two beings is where they found God. That's not describing, oh, we should build a church now. Oh, we should exclude anyone else from our group who's outside this mindset. But it's just, to me, that it was them trying to be present with another spiritual being because that's how they saw the divine.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Is like, if you're God and I'm God, if everything is God, when we have a relationship with everything, this is something my parents taught me from a very, very young age. Both my parents, by the way, raised me to be agnostic. Yeah,
they were also practicing Catholics?
No, I converted to Catholicism.
Why would you do that?
It's a whole story, and we'll get there. I promise. I won't leave you hanging. But my parents were atheistic, bordering on agnostic, and so they kind of raised me to just believe, like, if you're a good person and you treat people well in this life, it doesn't really matter what happens because you'll be fine in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is that is out there, you're going to be cool. Just don't be a dick. And that's great. I love that teaching. But this is what my parents taught me. They taught me to have a relationship with everything. And that means, like, if you have a car, for example, and you have a good relationship with your car will have a good relationship with you. If you treat it shitty and never get oil changes and run it into stuff all the time and never get gas in it, eventually it's going to die on you, probably earlier than it would. But if you treat it well and you give it oil and you give it gas and you wash it and you detail it and all those things, you drive it carefully with respect, then it will respect you for many, many years, right? And that's what they taught me. And so the idea is, I always see these really cool little kernels of wisdom that my parents gave me as a child that have really informed my practice as a spiritual healer, and my mindfulness practice and like my healing journey is so interesting because they caused all my trauma, and yet in healing all my trauma, I'm seeing all the kernels of wisdom that they've offered me as well. But it's really interesting because if we can have a relationship with everything in this earth, in this existence, then we have a relationship with divine union, right? Like you said, if where two or more are gathered, I am here. Where you are in relationship, deep, respectful, and loving relationship with everything as its own God self, you are having your God self mirrored back to you, and therefore you are in communion with God.
Yeah. Yes. Another verse that comes to mind, and it's funny because I love how often I quote scripture now, like, as opposed to how I used it as a weapon before. But, you kind of said it a second ago. I think it's John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, the light. Nobody comes into the Father except through me. And, to me, Christ represented that union. I mean, even if you look at it from an evangelical perspective of the Trinity, like, there was a union of three essences there, right? But I wonder if because that verse is so misconstrued to be exclusive and to other people and to marginalize other religions and faith systems. But I wonder if when Christ said it, I am the way, and I'm sure there's etymology with the basis of the languages and stuff, but I, representing that uniting together, this is the only way to get through this world. And I just wonder if people were they were humans listening to this spiritual being, they couldn't understand everything that was being said. There's no way. That's why there's different versions of the gospel, at least 4 times that we know of, But it's just interesting, the older that I get and the more, I'm not going to say the more evolved that I get, because I don't think that I'm evolving, but the more that I'm trying to evolve, the more that I'm like looking at these things that were used against me. Now it's like, oh no, that's actually a welcome. That's a welcome to divinity based on your own cultural upbringing.
Yes. Oh my God, I so agree. I maintain this theory that if we are indeed all God, right?
Mm-hmm.
If all of us is a God self, then all of us has infinite universal capacity and power to create whatever we want in this universe. We have the power of Genesis within us.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then, and this is why the Catholics would burn me at the stake, is because I believe that Jesus, yeah, absolutely the Son of God, because all of us are God. Yes. Right. So, but the resurrection itself was just him being so enlightened and so ascended as a master that he understood the power that he had over his universal surroundings, over the ego mind and the id, to be able to say, oh, no, I really am God.
Yep.
So death means nothing, right? Yep. That's what I think happened there with the resurrection. It's not necessarily that like he was the only one who could do it. And when he said, I am the way, I wonder if what he didn't mean is, hey, everybody, look, do you understand me? I am the way. Hey, now you do it. I am the way. Right? Like if we
like this is your mantra, bitches, recite after me.
Right, exactly. Like if you can go inward and really understand the power that you have within you as a God self, you are the way and the truth and the life. You can have eternal life because you can control the fucking universe.
Yeah. Can you imagine what Jesus would be like saying on CNN right now if he were still around? Like, God damn it, people! Like, that's not what I meant.
Right. Well, and that, you mentioned earlier, wondering if you would go to hell because you like to suck penis, and my answer to that is I am fairly certain. Obviously we can't know again, right, but fairly certain that when we all get to whatever heaven or the afterlife is, it's definitely going to look like a pride parade, and all of those are going to be real uncomfortable.
My heaven's going to be full of schlong.
Yeah.
Full of schlong.
Amazing. Leather whips and cute assless chaps. Like it's going to be a whole vibe.
We're going to skip your conversion to Catholicism because there's a segue here about you just describing Christ's moment of resurrection, and you have a road to Damascus moment as well, involving it's like the opening on your website, I believe, about a moment where you felt this energetic happenstance just overtake your body, and you have tattoos on your palms, which I'm wondering if that's a correlation to your experience.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's so interesting because the one on my left hand was when I was still very devoutly Catholic in a way that was like 100% believer. And I had this tattooed on my left hand so that way it would create a monstrance, a decoration for the throne that I make for Christ when I receive him in the Eucharist. Because for those of you who can't see me on the video, you cross your left hand over your right and you place your hands out, and then the Eucharistic minister places the body of Christ into your hand. And that is called the throne for Christ. Your hands are called the throne for Christ, and then you consume the Eucharist. So I originally got this tattoo on my palm, and it looks like a big sunburst kind of thing, with energy on the left palm to adorn the throne for Christ. 2 weeks later, I received Reiki. 2 weeks later. I was with my meditation instructor because I was already on a meditative spiritual path.
Sure.
And I was with my meditation instructor in the desert, and we were doing a 6 hour long MDMA ceremony to meditate, to sit and meditate while communing with the medicine of MDMA, because MDMA is an empathogen. Mm-hmm. And he had noticed in his tutelage of me in my meditation practice that I'm an empath, but I had deeply closed my heart. I had walled it off so much because of like a bajillion reasons that go all the way back to my childhood, lots and lots of trauma. And so he was like, well, if we want to break through these empathic barriers to help you really re-access your emotional intelligence, this might be a great way. So we'll take the MDMA and we'll sit and meditate for 6 hours and let's see what comes up for you and what you can purge. And I was like, great. So we did it. And in this process, my hands started tingling as we were meditating. And I looked down and I could see that they were glowing, almost like when you see an aura, mm-hmm. right? But the aura went away really quickly, but the tingling didn't stop for 3 months. And every time I would touch someone who was in pain, their pain would go away. And it was just, I thought maybe I was losing my mind, or I had been in a car accident a couple weeks before. So I was like, oh, I just have nerve damage. Like there's something wrong. You know, I went to doctors, I went to chiropractors and acupuncturists and all this stuff, but the tingling never stopped. And I had been getting Reiki from a Reiki master for a few months, and it didn't even occur to me that it might be Reiki. And I talked to her and I was like, this weird thing's been going on. I don't know, it's a nerve thing or something. Can you come and give me some Reiki? She's like, it sounds like you have Reiki. She's like, it sounds like you just universally attuned yourself to Reiki. And I was like, oh. She was like, maybe you should take a class. So I said, okay. So I took the level 1 Reiki class, and sure enough, I found out that that's exactly what it was, that I had universally attuned myself to Reiki by accident. And the rest is history. You know, I went and got my level 2 and master level, and I fell so in love with the healing process. And it really opened me up to not only the healing process of myself, but of others. It really opened up my mind and my spirit to being able to accept infinite numbers of truths at once, which is when I turned into a really bad Catholic. but I do believe that converting to Catholicism needed to happen, because I needed to be able to be willing to believe in something as unfucking believable as the transubstantiation of the body and blood of Jesus Christ in order to have enough faith to understand what was happening in my hands.
Okay, let's just break there for a second, because that's heavy shit to understand and absorb. Is that religion was almost an accelerant for your evolvement spiritually, and not a landing pad. It was somewhere that led you. It allowed you to have a little bit more capacity than you had before, so that you could have this crazy expansive capacity to believe something even beyond otherworldly.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I always say every episode there's something that somebody offers that just opens that much more in my spirit. And that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to forget everything you say after this now, because that was the bit for me that was just like, oh my God, like maybe Christianity, my ability to believe in the Christ, in the literal resurrection, is what's allowing me to believe what I'm on the path to believing now.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, you know, in my work with trauma survivors, which is what I use Reiki for, I niche down and I really focus on helping trauma survivors heal the trauma that's stored in their autonomic nervous system using Reiki. And there are a million scientific studies, and we can talk about how all of that affects trauma in a minute if you like. But one of the things I found is that in order to help them achieve what scientists call post-traumatic growth, you got to have 3 things. And one of those things is you have to have a spiritual or faith practice. Like 98% of people who achieve post-traumatic growth, which by the way is only about 10% of the traumatized population, so it's really rare to get it, really rare to achieve it, is spiritual and faith practice, some sort of spiritual life. And so what I've found is that the ability to believe that we are bigger than our trauma and our problems, the ability to believe that we are part of a greater purpose, the ability to believe and have faith that there is something wider out there, is so key to healing ourselves. And so that's why, as a spiritual mentor and a trauma healer, I don't care what religion you practice. Truly, I can work with anybody from any religion, because I truly believe that a religion is a stepping stone to your greatest healing. Any faith practice you have is a stepping stone to your greatest understanding of yourself. And that is the whole point of religion, I think, is that we were constantly asking ourselves questions about ourselves. We were seeking answers about knowing ourselves better, just like astrology, just like human design, just like, personality, ENFJ, INFT, whatever stuff, like Enneagrams. All of those things are things that help us to understand the nature of ourselves better. I am the way and the truth and the life.
Maria, what if that is exactly what Jesus was trying to tell folks? Like, okay, Jews, you got this far, you believe this much, let me show you what else you can see about yourself.
Yes.
And then here we are 2,000 some odd years later, and we're fucking it up.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Jesus, but I feel like he's really, really pissed.
Yeah. I say this joke on every episode almost, but I always say that if Jesus knew what was being done in their name, they'd be rolling over in their grave.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In their empty tomb.
Right, exactly. That's I know. Okay, but tell me, because first of all, I want you to explain what Reiki is, because I think people think of Reiki as just like woo-woo. I'm like putting my hands in your aura and like sending you good vibes. But tell me what Reiki is for the layman.
Great. I'm so glad you asked. So Reiki is a shamanic, indigenous, Shinto-based Japanese healing practice. It's a quantum matter healing practice, quantum energy healing practice. So contrary to popular belief, it was not discovered in like 1920. It was rebranded in 1920 as Reiki Ryoho Usui by Mikao Usui, who lived in Japan. And he rebranded Reiki, which is this millennia old shamanic healing practice that existed in Japan, in order to help it survive the westernization of Japan. At the time,
in order to survive the colonizing attempts of Western culture, is that what you're saying?
Well, it was, yes, it was kind of it's interesting with Japan because it was kind of an inside job. So the emperor of Japan at the time noticed how quickly the Western world was developing, and out of fear that they would be colonized, he decided to, like, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And so he actually, from the inside out, westernized his own country in order to make it less appealing as to the colonizing forces.
As a target.
Right. And because of that, what happened is they really kind of did away with all religion for a while in Japan. And that's, I mean, you can watch all sorts of documentaries on it. It's fascinating what they do. Like, they would imprison people for practicing religion or have them executed. It was crazy. And so because Reiki was such a powerful shamanic, indigenous, like really religious practice, and because Mikao Usui was very well educated, he went to the best schools. He was in the circles of politicians and celebrities in Japan and all these things, right? That he was able to really understand. He could read the room very well. And so he rebranded Reiki to being this very scientific thing that, like, was stripped entirely of its spiritual anything and made into this very scientific, like, this is what it can do for you scientifically. These are the studies, blah, blah, blah. And so that's kind of the Reiki that we know today. Reiki has been proven. You can go check it out on reiki.org if anyone's interested in seeing all the studies that have been done on Reiki. It's fascinating. But tons of scientific studies. Reiki's been proven to lower cortisol levels. It has been proven to decrease inflammation, which can speed up healing. And particularly, they've done a lot of studies in speeding up healing of women who've had cesarean sections. It's been proven to improve REM sleep, like deep REM theta state sleep.
Which I haven't had in about 10 years.
Oh, well, girl, get you a Reiki session.
I know. Yeah.
So there's so many, like, scientific benefits to it. It rebuilds the myelin sheath development on your nerve endings, which reprograms muscle memory, which is exactly how I use it to heal trauma that's stored in the autonomic nervous system. It can shorten the cavity, the canyon in between the hemispheres of your brain that keep you from being able to switch from right to left brain. So, like, kind of like EMDR in therapy, right? If you can't get in to see an EMDR therapist, go to a Reiki healer. Same diff.
Yeah.
So all of those things, it's really, really fascinating. But basically what happens in a Reiki session is the practitioner puts hands on you, or even in a distance session. Most of my sessions are distance. The practitioner directs intention of hands towards you and funnels the quantum matter that is literally in everything all around you and in you back into you to promote healing physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So think of it like this: if you were like trying to burn the sidewalk with a magnifying glass, right? Reiki is the sun. I'm the magnifying glass, and you're the sidewalk. I'm not giving you my energy. It doesn't exhaust me. It doesn't hurt me. In
You're
fact, I feel
funneling
great.
it.
I'm funneling it exactly. I'm like a meat straw through which the Reiki flows just right at you. And so I receive Reiki when I give you Reiki. It's amazing.
So, but I imagine that must take a toll on you spiritually to be someone's catalyst to divinity. I mean, what do you do for yourself to, I guess, recharge or to make sure that you are able to be a facilitator?
Mm. It's so funny that you would say this because I don't know that I have an answer for that. I actually just ran into a wall this week. So this is perfect timing. You would ask me this. I just ran into an emotional exhaustion wall this week for the first time ever since I started my Reiki practice.
Wow.
And it had nothing to do with my Reiki practice or my clients. It had everything to do with some friends in my personal life. I had like 5 friends who were going through really heavy stuff in the last 2 weeks. And I was so honored to get to hold space for them. And I love, love, love showing up for my chosen family in this way. But I reached an emotional capacity wall where like my clients weren't exhausting me, but like I couldn't even find a way to be nice to my partner who hadn't done anything. I was just like cranky and it was just emotional exhaustion. So I'm actually exploring that now because I have never reached that point where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Usually because I get to receive Reiki when I'm giving Reiki to my clients, that's what replenishes me.
Yeah.
And I think even as a spiritual mentor, when I'm doing like spiritual life coaching, watching someone like click and get it, oh, to me that feels so amazing and
Yeah.
it's so energizing for me to know like, they're on their way. Because I remember what it used to be like when I was in this place where I was totally blind and deaf and closed off and I couldn't hear and I couldn't see and I couldn't move and I couldn't love. And I remember what that was like. And to see people make a shift that I'm like, okay, they're going to start taking a step forward now. That is very exciting for me. So, what do I do for myself? I don't have an answer for that yet, but I'll get back to you.
I see a piano behind you.
Yes.
That
Yes.
that's something. Creating music.
Yeah. So before the pandemic, I was an opera singer and a full time opera singer. And
What part?
I was a mezzo soprano, so lower
Yeah.
voice. And I sang all over the world. I've been in some really cool places. Right before the pandemic, I made my Kennedy Center debut. Like I was killing it. And then the pandemic hit, and it was so funny because about 2 months before the pandemic hit is when I received Reiki, and I was like really debating. So I was like starting to get a little burned out with the toxicity of the industry, not the singing part, not the making art part,
I
certainly
know.
not the making money part, but it was the toxicity of the
I know.
industry. And I was like really debating, like, oh, should I quit? Like, I love Reiki healing. I love helping other people. Like, this is what lights me up right now. Like, maybe I should quit, but I've spent 20 years of my life dedicating everything to an opera career. So what do I do? And then the pandemic hit and the entire opera industry shut down. I lost like $30,000 in canceled contracts overnight. Like, it was a mess. All my church gigs like blew up in smoke, everything, all of my stability gone. And I was like, okay, universe, I hear you. I guess I'm going to do this Reiki thing. And so I started my life practice. I don't really call it my business. I call it my life practice because I really do believe that everything in my life has been leading up to this.
And it removes like the capitalistic stigma, I think, associated with a lot of healers who do have to make ends meet and, pay their rent. But I love that you call it a life practice because it also takes out the separation between personal and professional life, because what you do, you don't get to have that separation. You are always receiving and giving when you go to Target, when you go to church. But how has getting into Reiki, how has that transformed you as a vocalist?
Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. I really thought about quitting singing altogether.
Because opera is all technique.
Oh, yeah.
Technique, technique, technique.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And Reiki is feel, feel, feel.
It really is. Yeah, opera is very much in the head, and it's a lot about muscle memory too. But we're so in our mind about creating that muscle memory, and like when we're in the practice room, it's like very, strict
Yeah.
and all of those things.
I studied musical theater is my degree, but
Oh, cool.
but we were not allowed to study current. We could only study classical literature and studio. So I was all of our teachers were of some kind of operatic background. So I fought that for years, and we'll get to it in a second, but that's part of my trauma is my training as a vocalist.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of my trauma too, is a training,
Uh-huh.
is my training as a vocalist. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack there.
I
Um,
know.
but yeah, so the way that Reiki has changed my singing, it's totally transformed it in so many ways. First of all, I decided that I did not have to quit singing. I had a friend, my friend Jonathan, who actually helped me build my website, who you would love to talk to, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Was
introduce
it? Okay, please do.
yeah. But so he told me, my friend Jonathan told me, Maria, you can have both. I don't know why you think you can't. And he was like, let's just figure out a way for you to have both. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, singing isn't really doing it for me anymore because I recognize now that I no longer really need the adulation and direct applause. Like I recognize all the reasons why I went into singing opera, and none of them were from a pure and like energetic place. None of that was squeaky clean energetics. It was just a desperate need for affection and validation, right? And so I was like, well, I don't really need that anymore. So I struggle to see like what I need, like why I would want to do this. But what I really love and what really lights me up is Reiki. And so I thought, well, you know what? How about this? Every time I sing from now on, I'm going to give group Reiki to the audience while I sing.
Yes.
And that's what I do. It's called
Yes.
Sing the Light. My program is called Sing the Light. And every time I sing, whether I'm at church or in public at like doing an opera or anything like that, I'm giving group Reiki to the audience, to whoever's spirit is open to receive, of course. And I don't really like talk about it beforehand necessarily, although I would love to like be able to advertise that when I have jobs with Reiki or with opera companies and stuff like that. I think it'd be kind of a cool thing.
You're in LA, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Honey, if you announced a show at some random venue as a Reiki concert, I would be there from front row, VIP meet and greet. Like that sounds right up. I feel like there's such a market for, because I think thanks to shows like American Idol and America's Got Talent, so many singers have gotten burnt out because everyone is a critic now. I mean that's why part of my trauma is about just judgment of technique, judgment of sound, judgment of feeling. And I often look back at my time. I spent years fearing vocal nodules, and I now look at vocal nodules almost as a gift because it's your body being like, there's a block to your feelings. Because I do believe that feelings overcome technique in a way that technique cannot even touch.
Mm-mm. I love that. It's so funny that you would say that because that is the other way that I have really seen my music be impacted by my Reiki practice. And that is that I love it again. And I realized,
Yeah.
I think I realized at some point that I might never have loved it. I might have just been really good at it.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yes.
and so I just kept doing it because people
Yep.
kept hiring me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then I was surviving as I was singing full time when the pandemic hit. So I was like making all of my money singing, which is
A
for a
gift.
thing unheard of, especially if you're living in LA, right? It's
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
a blessing. But I was saying yes to every gig that came my way because you gotta pay rent, right? And so I was doing a lot of things that were underpaid, where I was undervalued, where the music was shit, like just things where I was totally uninspired, but it's like, it's a gig. I got to do it. We're burning the midnight oil. Like just get it done. Right. And now because of my life practice, I have amazing clients who light me the fuck up all day long, every day. I have these amazing programs that provide me with just enough financial stability to be able to really choose whatever projects I want in opera. So when I'm singing, I really only choose the ones where I'm like, they're paying me obscene amounts of money.
Yep.
I really want to work with these people, or I really want to do this art. Or all three. Great, amazing. But like I get to choose now. And I never before had that kind of freedom. And so now, and the great thing is not only that, but when I was singing before, I was just like you. I was so concerned about technique because you have to be perfect. Because when you're singing music that has been written, 600 years ago, and the performance practice is very specific, and everyone sings it the exact same way that it's been sung for 600 years, and you want to sound exactly like the person before you, who sounds like the person before them, right? Then you lose all artistry.
I was going to say that's not art.
Right. It's not art. It's just regurgitation. It's parroting, right?
Which is fine, but
that's fine. But I was so scared to not be the parrot. I was so scared to add any bit of my own artistry in, because what if I don't get rehired and then I'll starve to death and then I'll be homeless and all these things, right? Opera singers, we may or may not be slightly dramatic.
It's the ballerinas of the vocal world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I now I can be so artistic and free with my voice because I'm like, I'm here to express me. They're hiring me because they want me to express me. And if they don't hire me again, that's okay. If I
Yeah.
never get hired for another opera again, that's okay because that's not my life practice.
Yeah.
Reiki is my life practice. That
Yes.
that's where my heart is. So yeah.
I love that. I spent years as a cruise ship singer before I came to LA, and it was
Army.
the best chapter of life. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, I mean, the perks, the money, the sex, like the country is like everything, right? But there was not a show that I did where I did not come off stage. Well, that was flat. Well, they didn't clap as loud as last show did. And like so, and that informed every future performance. And so during COVID, I my parents got me a piano, and so I have my piano, and I have right now I live in Hollywood behind the bowl, and I have this corner window that just overlooks the whole fucking city. And so I play, and I'm watching this concept of Hollywood that I've been pursuing for years for my whole life, and now so I actually say no to every gig I so I used to like do cabarets and like sets and stuff like that. I don't do anything anymore because I cannot. I've not found a way to do artistry there yet. But in this safety of my home with this view and my piano and my dog, I can create. And I'll record sometimes. Sometimes I won't. But that is where I'm a musician now. Not on a stage, not on a mic, not for an audience, just for me and this zeitgeist.
Oh, I love that. That's
But I
beautiful.
hope to get to a place like what you were saying. I hope I can get back to a place of feeling like I can step on stage and create instead of perform. I hope.
Totally. Yep. Yep. That's the dream for all of us, right? And I think so few of us get to realize it. And I feel incredibly lucky to get to do it. And I feel incredibly lucky that despite my complete 180 in my life choices and my branding and blah 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 blah, right? That opera companies are still calling and
Yeah.
that they're still hiring me. Like, thank God. They're not like, oh no, she doesn't do that anymore. Don't bother calling her. They're like, oh no, like let's check in with her and see if
But
she's
they
doing.
must know that for you to be so technically accurate, to add this element of feeling and artistry must just unquantifiably so enhance the performance.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, I would think so. I fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, there haven't been many performances since the pandemic for me
Yeah.
to get to try this out really. But it has been really exciting when I've been able to do it. So that's been
Yeah.
really cool. I'm gonna be in Pittsburgh in October singing
Oh,
an
dope.
opera there about the Dreamer Act, about DACA. It's
Oh my
called I
God.
Am a Dreamer. Yeah, it's called I Am a Dreamer Who No Longer Dreams, and I'm playing the lead role. Her name is Rosa, and I'll be really excited to sing this new opera and really offer that Reiki to people, especially immigrants in the audience who are really relating to this struggle and to this journey. So
Are there going to be ticket links for that soon?
probably yes. I think they're announcing their season
Okay, because
this
I'll
week.
put it on my website, thefagnostic.com. It's I don't know if I told you, but I've branded it into an online resource center for LGBTQ people overcoming religious trauma, and so it's a place where you can find doctors, lawyers, preachers, events, volunteer opportunities, merchandise, like anything that's inspirational for somebody overcoming, trauma. But it's broken down by market. So you click on your state, and then you have like, oh, here's where you can go for safety. But I want to put that on there because that just sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. And then
Yeah.
also, if you feel like letting your listeners know as well, I offer, particularly to BIPOC, I offer free healing every Tuesday. So every Tuesday you can book with me for free sessions if you are BIPOC.
What? Oh
Yeah,
my God, I'm for sure advertising that because that's huge.
it's just part of my it's called my oppression healing program. So you can go to the link in my bio or on my website and just like search oppression healing and you'll find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's my way of decolonizing, part of my way, not the only way, but part of my way of decolonizing my Reiki practice. Because of the way that Reiki, we kind of got into it a little bit, but the way that Reiki has been whitewashed and colonized and westernized over the years, we now find ourselves in a position where majority of Reiki practitioners are white. Majority of people who can afford Reiki at the prices it's being offered are white. And none of that is okay with me.
Yep.
So I'm trying to do my best to fix that as quickly as possible. I'm launching my first ever Reiki training program in 2 weeks. I'm launching it. It's called Ascension 101. I will take you from being a nobody, like a nothing. You don't know anything. You're starting out as a totally like me, basically. You're starting out as just a normal person. And I will take you in 12 months from being a normal person to being a Reiki master with magic hands like me. And I am offering special scholarships. At least 5 slots will go for free to BIPOC who apply. And BIPOC who apply for the paid slots will be given preferential treatment over white people who apply. So
that's fantastic.
I make as many Reiki healers of color as I can.
But that's how you do it. I mean, because there is no problem for a white person to access Reiki right now. I mean, I in fact, I don't know. I'm just thinking of how I learned about Reiki, and this person would very much agree that like it's been colonized and whitewashed, and you know they're a white man as well. But I don't know that I've met someone outside of the white population who practices or instructs Reiki until you.
Yeah, I know.
And that's tragic.
Yeah, I know a few Reiki practitioners of color, but it's far too few. And that needs to change. It really does. You're doing it accessible to everyone.
When you were coming, because you were coming from Catholicism, did you have a period where when you were, I would say, dabbling in Reiki? And am I correct that the emphasis of the word Reiki, it's on ki? Reiki?
Yes.
Okay, yep. I've said it wrong my entire life. Great, cool. So thank you for correcting that. But what was it like trying to marry Catholicism and Reiki? Did you have a period where you're like, I don't know if these two can go together? Or did you just know from the beginning, like, oh no, this is actually going to enhance both aspects of my life?
Okay, so this is really, oh man, you asked the best questions. So when I started with Reiki, I was taught in my very westernized, colonized class that Reiki goes really well with any religion, and it can be, it can be spiritual or it doesn't have to be, right? That was part of the way that Mikao Usui intentionally westernized Reiki to help survive, right? Every single indigenous culture on this planet has at one point or another had some sort of quantum energetic healing practice, and so many have been lost to colonization that we don't even have the names for those anymore. We're very lucky that Mikao Usui did what he did to Reiki to make sure we can at least have access to that one today.
Do you have a theory behind why that is? Of why these spiritual practices were squashed? Was it the power of one man? Was it
I think it absolutely has to do with the colonization, the global domination of the Catholic Church.
Wow.
I mean, you can see it very clearly in the liturgy, in the actual liturgy of the Catholic Church and the way that they do things. Every single thing they do in a mass has been taken from another religious culture that they colonized in order to help bring the people into the church and solidify their power worldwide. So
and money.
Yeah, exactly. Power, money, power. Yes, exactly. So that's why these practices don't exist anymore. And so we're very lucky to have Reiki still. And so, while we can say, oh, well, Mikao Usui did this and he westernized it and blah, 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 like we're lucky he did, because we wouldn't have it right now. Right. So with all of that said, that was a little tangent, but back to your question. When I was starting to practice Reiki, I thought that it was true that you could just apply it to any religion. And then I started practicing, and I was like not thinking about it. I was a Catholic and I started practicing and it was no big deal. And then my priest at one of my churches was like, you can't practice Reiki. The College of Cardinals put out a paper in like the 80s stating that it invites demonic possession. Like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. And then I had this a seminarian tell me the same thing. And then the head of like the liturgy planning committee at the church I was singing at the time, she like went off on me on Facebook and told me that I was possessed by the devil and I was evil and I was going to hell, and she unfriended me, and it was like this whole thing. And so I went to my spiritual guide, my Catholic priest, friend of mine, and I said, hey, this is what I was taught about Reiki. This is what these people are saying. Like, what's the deal? And he was like, all right, well, look, on that same list of things that invite demonic possession is Dungeons and Dragons.
Thank you.
So like,
Harry Potter.
What it's right. Take it for what it's worth. And he was like, look, I have a question for you. Does your Reiki practice make you feel closer to Christ or further away? Does your Reiki practice invite you into the Eucharist or make you want to push it away? And I was like, no, it makes me feel closer to Christ, and it makes me feel like I want to take the Eucharist more. And he was like, well, then I don't think it's inviting demonic possession. I think you're okay. And I was like, oh, Okay. So for a minute there, I did have that, like, oh, should I not tell anybody? Like, I work for the Catholic Church. I still sing for the Catholic Church. Should I tell people? Should I not? And finally, I just got to a place where I was like, no, like, I'm going to be open about this. And if churches don't want to hire me or they want to fire me because of it, that's okay. I don't really want to work for those people anyway.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to be open and honest about the fact that this is what I do to help people. And if they want to call it the healing hands of Christ, which I absolutely believe is another name for Reiki, they can.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, there's a concept in the Protestant church called the laying on of hands.
Yes.
I think it's a way, that's where I'm having a lot of grace for people that I love that are still in these organized religions, is that, the capacity to understand quantum matter and how it is the connection to the divine. That laying on of the hands is their way of being able to grant power from our own individual divinity. They just don't know how to call it that yet, But in that, I can have forgiveness and grace for you on your path to greater involvement and understanding of the divine. If you get there, if you don't, cool. But you're right. Every single version of a faith has taken from another to fulfill its own. But in that, why have you stuck around with the Catholic Church with the reputation that you just said?
Okay, it's such a good question. Wow. So when I joined the Catholic Church, I knew that I was joining for a reason, and I didn't know what the reason was. This is long before Reiki.
How old were you?
I was 30.
Okay.
About 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. And I knew that I was being called to join the Catholic Church. I didn't know specifically why, because I didn't agree with their politics. Sure as shit, never believed in their politics. And I didn't really believe in the transubstantiation at the time. I was like one of those people who was like, I think it's a metaphor. It's a great metaphor. It's beautiful, but like, eh. But I had been singing for the Catholic Church for several years, and there were so many parts of my conversion story that led me to the Catholic Church.
Sure.
So the reason why I think I've stuck around is now I recognize that the reason why I had to join the Catholic Church is because I had to be able to have enough faith to expand me, like we talked about, through Reiki. But the reason why I stuck with the Catholic Church is because as I decolonized my own mind, and as I decolonized my spiritual practices, and as I decolonized my Reiki practice, I recognized that the only place that I can get the spiritual practices of my people that have been colonized is in the Catholic Church.
That's so interesting.
I feel deeply at home with the liturgy. I love the liturgy so much. It does something to my spirit that makes me feel very grounded and very at home and very safe. And I recognize that that is the blood of my ancestors. I recognize that that is an epigenetic passing down of my spiritual practices from the Celtic side of my family, from the Druid side of my family, from the Aztec side of my family, like all of those parts of me that have been completely, I mean, those religions are barely being practiced now. And even so, they're not the same as they used to be before the Catholic Church came and completely colonized and decimated them. But the Catholic Church did save some of the most beautiful parts of our ceremonies to put into their liturgy. And so when I'm there, I feel closer to my ancestors, and that's why I stay.
Wow. It's also kind of an inside job. Like your involvement is infiltrating the non-involvement in a way that people are probably responding to you just by your essence, and thus they are expanding their own belief systems.
We hope. Yeah.
We do hope. Do you have hope for humanity?
Yes. I have so much hope for humanity. I've made it my mission in this life, at least in this incarnation. I've made it my mission to create a ripple effect. That's what I call it, is the ripple effect. I want to heal someone and then watch them heal their whole family and all the people that love them. And not in a direct way where they're like, oh, let me teach you all the things I learned, but in the way that like you noticed in your life when you started to heal yourself. And all of your listeners, I'm sure you can remember in your lives when you began to heal yourselves, that your friends started to react differently. Your family started to heal. There were fewer moments of tension and anger and sadness and fighting and trauma and toxicity. And all of that, it ripples outward and it inspires people to ask themselves questions about themselves, to seek out their own healing.
Yeah.
A ripple effect is so powerful. And that's really why I like to work one-on-one with clients, because if we can really nail in that healing, then it begins to affect their whole family. I've watched it happen.
And their entire lineage, not even the ones that are living, but like that ancestral healing.
Oh, yeah. My therapist once said to me, when you heal yourself, you heal your ancestors. And I did not know what the fuck she was talking about. I was like, what do you mean they're dead?
Yep.
But now I realize because I just went through this insane last fall, insane ancestral karmic clearing ceremony for myself, where I cleared 1,000 years of karmic debt on both sides of my family. And
Jesus.
had I not started my healing journey, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I didn't even
Hmm.
want to have kids before last fall. I was like, I'm never going to be a mom. No, like, no, nobody needs that shit. And now I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to have children now who don't have to have millennia of karmic ancestral debt on their shoulders. They don't have to worry about my projections. Great.
Yes, no, but at least like the buck has stopped with you. That's so. I'm so happy to hear that you want to have kids because while it's a personal choice, I feel like the people that are voicing like, do I want to bring a kid into this world, are exactly the people that we need bringing kids into this world, because the ones that are bringing kids into this world are not the ones that we want bringing kids into this world.
Amen. Amen. Especially those like the birther movement people. Oh man,
I
I,
know.
I send them meta every day, hoping that they will
Yes.
come to the way.
Is
The way.
your does your partner identify as he, she, or they?
Yes, my partner identifies as he,
Okay, awesome.
and he
So
is a life
now,
coach
and
for teens and their families.
he's a life coach for teens and their families. Oh
Yeah.
my God! So y'all have a household of healing.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
a whole brand there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me getting capitalistic. Fuck me. Goddamn.
Well, we do want to have some programs together someday and just teach together, just because we think that would be super fun to like work together in that way and to help people with our combined wisdom. But that's still a bit off, I think, like far off in the distance.
Do y'all? Because I do believe that the people that are the most spiritually evolved have the best sex. Do you do like sessions where you provide Reiki to one another, and like I mean like sessions where you just sit in each other's presence? Like that's always been. I have never had a successful relationship, and so in my inner work and outer work to welcome that and foster that, one of the things that I want is someone that I can just sit with and be present and just feel energy, because I've never been able to like just sit still before with someone. Is that something that y'all find with one another?
Yeah, it is sometimes. I think sometimes we get kind of caught up in the 3D world like everybody
Of
else
course,
does,
of
the rat
course.
race and the hustle. And especially because we don't cohabitate right now. So
Okay.
when we see each other, it's like date night or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do believe that there will be more time for that as our lives slow down together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have those moments. And what I will say about Tantra, because really what you're talking about is Tantra. And
Yeah.
I know that people, when they hear Tantra, they automatically think of like, oh, hours long sex without orgasms and like,
Right.
all those things, right? But Tantra it's an energy practice. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Tantra actually was the gateway to me receiving Reiki. Solo Tantra that I practiced on myself, that I practiced with moving energy in my body, and it had nothing to do with sex at first, is the way that I was able to open up my channels to Reiki. And it's part of what I teach in my Reiki Master Certification program. There's a whole month that we work on Tantra together. So, and yes, it is partly sexual Tantra, but a lot of it is just energetic Tantra.
Does
And
Tantra heal sexual trauma?
oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes. 1,000% yes. If you want to know more about healing sexual trauma through Tantra, I highly, highly recommend the book Urban Tantra by Barbara Carrellis.
Urban Tantra?
Yeah, by Barbara Carrellis. She's amazing, but it's like the most intersectional, most diverse book for sex and tantra that I've ever read, and I
Wow.
mean, your audience will love it. Everyone
Oh.
will. Yeah.
Well, part of the Fagnostic brand is a book club, and so I will be sure to look into that book.
Yeah, you totally should. You're gonna love it. It's so great because there are chapters for like, tantra for people with pussies, tantra for people with penises, tantra
Hmm.
for asexual people, tantra for trans people. Like it's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing.
I'm so excited! I'm a big reader, so that will be ordered today.
Yeah, it's really good.
What would you say to the divine if they were standing before you in the flesh?
Well, they are in this computer. I mean,
Okay, way to throw me. Okay.
I would say, good job, us. High five.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I
love.
say that a lot. Like when I look around at the ways in which we have expressed ourselves in creation, and the ways in which we have really expanded ourselves to show both unbearable beauty and horrifying grotesqueness at the same time. It is breathtaking. It is stunning, and I'm so proud of us.
Yes. we're going to end it there. That's the perfect place to be. I'm so proud of us. Maria, thank you for blowing my mind today. This has been so fascinating. You have allowed me to, you have opened up things in my spirit that I have questioned, and I mean, you have led to evolvement in this past hour that I did not have as of 10:30 this morning. So thank you. I really appreciate it. You're a magical being. I'm so thankful that Christian told me I had to reach out to you. I hope this is not the end of our conversation. I hope that we get to hang out sometime. I cannot wait to point people towards you, myself included. So anything else you want to say? How can we book you? That's the most important thing that I want to get off right now too.
So to book with me, you can go to my website, which is ascendingarts.exchange, EXCHANGE, not .com, not .org, not whatever, .exchange, because it's an energy exchange. Get it? And then you can also visit my Instagram. I'm really great on Instagram, not so great on Facebook, but I'm there occasionally. But Instagram, and that is at Ascending Arts. And I've got the link in bio with all the things. So if you want to do my oppression healing program for free and do free Tuesday healings, that's there. If you want to pay for a Reiki session, that's there. If you want to join my one-on-one trauma healing program, that's there. And in 2 weeks, if you want to learn to become a Reiki master, that will be there too.
Incredible. Thank you again. I cannot wait to see you again and share with what else I have grown because of this conversation.
I just want to close by thanking you, Matt, so much for this really stimulating conversation. It was so fun. And I want to just leave your listeners with one thing. If you take nothing else from your interactions with me ever, any of you, I want it to be this. You absolutely 100% can heal your trauma for good. It doesn't just live inside of you forever. You don't have to just cope with it. You can heal it for good because you have the power of God inside of you, and you can literally do whatever the fuck you want.
Amen and amen. Yes. Maria, thank you. I will see you next time, okay?
All right. Thanks so much, Matt.
And all the people said, Amen. Y'all, thanks for listening to another episode of the Fagnostic Podcast, hosted by me, Matt Hayes. Now, I want you to go check out our brand new site, fagnostic.com, and see what we're doing with the brand. I'm developing an online resource center for LGBTQ people looking to overcome or contribute to overcoming religious trauma. The podcast is now part of the greater Fagnostic network of resources, the book club, the playlist, the blog, the merch, the news articles, the artists, and so much more. So, if you know any queer or queer-friendly doctors, lawyers, specialists, preachers, volunteer opportunities, mentors, or anyone else that might be of service to a queer person escaping religion, send them my way. You can reach me at info@fagnostic.com. Now, please go subscribe, review, and share this podcast. And in the meantime, y'all have a blessed day, and peace be with all y'all.